One little beastie I be, all by myself without nobody. Sun is beating down on my baseball hat. The beer's getting warm. The beer's getting flat. This is Tim. You know what time it is. Oh. I mean, I just don't, I think of Godfather 3.
That's when I thought I was out. They pulled me back in.
They pull me back in again. It's the utter stupidity of Joe Schoen. Good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, or whatever fucking time it is. And at your time of the zone. Yes, Mike Lee, I am feeling better. It is Clueless, Joe. But every time I think I'm out, they just pull me back in. We all heard the Nick McLeod story. We've heard the Nick McLeod story for a while now. And I talked about this before it even happened. And someone actually reminded me on Twitter that I talked about it before it even happened, that with the Giants, we're going to have to make some kind of salary cap move because we were short on cap before one of those games. And it was weird that it was going to be someone like Nick McLeod, who at that point in time had already started about 5 games for the Giants. It's not an integral part of the defense, but he is a professional. He is a professional. That's what he was. He's a professional NFL corner / safety / whatever else you want to put him. And Joe Schoen told him, basically, you need to take a pay cut. And when it happened, I did a short on it too, I think. When it happened, I was like, well, that's kind of weird that you're asking this guy to take a fucking pay cut. And then it came out in the press that Joe Schoen basically told his agent, Nick McLeod's agent, that don't pay the rent for October, because as soon as I can get rid of this motherfucker, I am. And it's one of those things that when you read it, he says, according to multiple Giant players, Joe Schoen told McLeod's representative, don't pay October's rent. All right. As soon as I replace him, I'm going to replace him. I'm not fucking around. I forget. And a lot of people in the chat are smarter than I am. And that's a great question. We should ask DJ to take a pay cut. I forget, though, how many Super Bowl rings does Joe Schoen have? I forget. 7? 8? So he has, and at that point in time, they were 2-7. We're a 2-7 team. And at that point in time, you are telling who was then your starting corner, you don't take a pay cut, as soon as I can, I'm cutting you. And then I love it because there's the validity of some Giant fans that are like, well, it's no big deal. He's just running the team. He's running a tough show. And honestly, there's no proof any of this happened. So when Talking Giants allegedly got the phone call from one of the Giants PR people, and there's no proof, that's 100% believable besides having multiple locker room sources. I guess we just want to pick and choose what we want to believe. If you're a free agent, first of all, you're not coming to the Giants unless you're going to get overpaid because we're a shit show. You're not unless you overpay for something. No one's fucking coming here. I love it. Justin Fields is going to come here. Why? If I'm Justin Fields, why the fuck would I want to come to New York? I stay in Pittsburgh because Russell Wilson's not coming back. Well, sign Russell Wilson. Well, Russell Wilson looks a little bit shot in Pittsburgh with the good wide receivers and a good running game. How do you think he's going to look in New York? We'll trade for J.J. McCarthy. You didn't want him at 10 last year. But for some reason now, as Giant fans, he's worth the 3rd overall pick. Is anyone else seeing the lunacy and the idiocy I'm seeing here? I love it. Chris for Love of MMA says, but Tim, Joe Schoen's the smartest man in the room. I don't get it. And then I laugh because last year was the draft. Last year was the draft to get a quarterback and a wide receiver. And I'm not looking at Ladd McConkey, 9 catches, 197 yards, 21.9, 86 longest yard, which was a great play and a touchdown. Now looking at Ladd McConkey, you also put up 1,149 yards, 14 yards reception, 7 touchdowns, 82 receptions with 50 less targets than the great Malik Neighbors. We're not talking about those guys, but that was the draft. This is a draft if you need to grab a defensive lineman or maybe a corner. And then I love it, Abdul Carter. Everybody's in love with Abdul Carter now. If you're a Giant fan, we got to get Abdul Carter. Just because he wears number 11, he's not Michael Parsons. Yes, I know they both went to Penn State. But Abdul Carter was a failed off-the-ball linebacker until he got switched over to defensive end. Now, his speed and his one little duck and swim move may play against Oregon, may play against Sister Mary of the Poor, but it's going to be a short or a longer route to the quarterback trying to use that move repeatedly because of the fact that he has not built up his repartee yet. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about defensive linemen who do not have.
You say I have a plethora of piñatas?
Who do not have a plethora of moves. 10.5 sacks, Old Dominion, O'Shane Zimmett, as we said it before. He's a speed rusher, and he's going to try to use that speed in the NFL, and it's going to work only so long before people push him out of the way. Why are people blowing me up when they know? I mean, but these are things we need to look at. But he is going to come in, and he's going to be part of that rotation. You spent this... You spent the 5th overall pick on Kayvon Thibodeau. Going to be on 4 years now. You traded for Brian Burns and gave him $120 million. You're not going to take another defensive end. It makes no fucking sense. You need a corner. I'm not even thrilled with Will Johnson. You need a corner. You need linebackers. You need all these other things. I like this one by Mike Lee. Remind me how many great moves Kayvon has? 1. He chases someone until they get tired and fall down and he tackles them. Oh, but you're not going to grab Abdul Carter. Sorry. It makes 0 sense. Well, you know what? I should not say that because for the Giants, it would probably make sense for them. So we should take a guy. We should take a guy who doesn't play the run. Yes, he had the most tackles for losses in the in NCAA football. But at this point in time, you're not going to grab him because you already have Kayvon. You're already paying a plethora of money to Kayvon Thibodeau and the likes of Brian Burns. Giants need to grab a quarterback. The speculation right now is Tennessee is in love with Cam Ward. I'm in love with Cam Ward now. I really am. I think Cam Ward is the guy. I'm not sold on Shedeur Sanders. I've said this a million times before. And it's not has anything to do with Dion. It has to do more with his talent. Even Matt from Connecticut is a starter. You're right. It has to do with more talent than anything else. But at 3, I can't take Carter. I can't take. I'm not going to take. I like the big kid out of what's his name, Boise State, the running back. But I can't. I'm not going to take Will Johnson. If I'm taking Will Johnson, I might as well trade down to 10. Last year was the draft to trade down. But the brilliance of Joe Schoen, Clueless Joe Schoen, why do I want to grab a corner and a wide receiver in this draft when next year there's really none? I should wait. I'm going to wait till 2026. And I love it. I hope to God I am so bad that I'm going to get a shot at Archie Manning, even though we have no idea what Archie Manning is. I love this. If the quarterbacks are gone, I'm going Mason Graham pairing with Dex.
King of the almost sacked.
Don, we paired him with an all-pro, Dexter Lawrence. Listen, Dexter Lawrence is a great player, 100%. No knock on Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence got the majority of his sacks rushing from the defensive end position. Not from the center of the field, not from the middle of the field. I think someone like, and people are like, well, he should be the NFL defense player of the year. No, like Dexter Lawrence is not the NFL defensive player of the year. Not even close. Not even close. You got to remember, he had 44 tackles and 9 sacks. Hell, I will take Myles Garrett over him. Patrick Surtain, who the Giant fans went crazy for, who they wanted us to trade for, had a better season than Dexter Lawrence. I think his percentage against guys in his own division, his pass percentage is like 0.08. I mean, that's their passer rating. It's like 8. Not 108, is like 8. So Dexter Lawrence is not Aaron Donald. I'm sorry. He's not Aaron Donald. As much as we want to think he is, as much as we want to say he is the greatest defensive player right now, Aaron Donald from the defensive end position would have 11 sacks. Aaron Donald has 111 sacks in his career. From the defensive end position. He had 9, 11, 8, 11, 20, 12, 13 and a half, 12 and a half, 5, 8. And when he would do this, he would have over 50 tackles. When I did a video the day after Christmas, the first year when Leonard Williams was here, and I actually talked to someone that worked in Leonard Agent's office, his agent's office, and I was told he wanted Aaron Donald money. Go back and watch the video. If Zach Attack's here, Zach Attack will find the video. And I said he's not Aaron Donald, and that's the money he wants. So we don't believe any of that. Then, like 4 weeks later, it comes out he wants Aaron Donald money. As much as we want to anoint Dexter Lawrence as this singularly destructive force, how many times did he impact the game last 2 years? You're going to need to think about trading him in like 2 years, because he's going to be on the downslope on your career when we may be good. And these are the things that Joe Schoen has screwed up so badly. That's why he's fucking clueless. He is literally clueless to the point that you didn't stagger the contracts of Lawrence and Thomas, who you're also going to have to consider trading soon because of injuries. And you have them maturing at the same time. And now you have the 5th and 7th pick, whose 5th-year option is coming up before next season, that you either have to decline or pick up. You're not picking up Evan Neal's 5th year, so you already failed at 7. Do you really want to pick up? If you would go with Abdul Carter, are you going to pick up the 5th-year option on Kayvon Thibodeau? No. So there you go. Thank you. The crowd loves me. Oh, I mean, yeah, but who could screw up 5 and 7? We know who could screw up 5 and 7. We watched it. We watched them screw up 5 and 7. So this is the same guy now in a draft, to me, which only has 2 quarterbacks in it. This is the Kenny Pickett draft. And I didn't like Kenny Pickett. Said it before. I'm leery of a quarterback that's a 5-year starter whose best year is his 5th year in college. It's either going to be Cam Ward and Sanders, and I'm not sold on Sanders. But the question is going to be this. What do you do then? This draft is so fucked for the Giants. If it's me and I can't get Cam Ward, why not trade this pick and trade it into 2026? Why not? Because I think 2026 looks like a better draft. I'm thinking outside of the top 8, I'm not seeing a star-studded draft. And for him to then also go after agents, you build a reputation in this league as a tough negotiator. That's not a tough negotiator. That's just being a fucking asshole. Every day something stupider comes out about him. Every day. And we still sit there, certain segment of Giant fans, and go, he'll guide us. This is the same moron that guided us into a contract with Daniel Jones. This is the same moron that had trade Leonard Williams. This is the same moron when Julian Love did not get the money that he thought he was going to get in free agency after you offer him $10 million, and he comes back hat in hand and said, hey, listen, This is like half the contract that you offered me. And I want to come back to the Giants. And the Giants, and he said, no, we're happy at the safety position. It's lunacy at its finest. He signed a 2-year, $18 million contract. And we said, no, we don't want. Listen, you're probably going to be a Pro Bowler. You're at the peak of your career. You're a homegrown talent. We drafted you. We built you into a player that you are. Fuck you. Go someplace else. You want to come here to play up for us for less money? I got Yusef Corker. I'm finally seeing some of the pundits look at the Giants draft class. First thing I saw the other day was we need to get more out of Tyler Nubin. I was like, yeah, we do. We need. I love it. Drew Phillips needs to improve on his pass defense. So our third corner needs to get better at defending the pass because he gave up 75% of the passes thrown his way. But we're hanging our hat on one draft class without any idea what's going to go next. But don't worry. What's up, Greg? We got Joe Schoen. We got Joe Schoen leading the Titanic into the iceberg while Rome burns. And John Mayer is like, hey, listen. Let's raise those season ticket prices. Not for me. It's for some other dumbasses. And I love the dumbasses on Twitter. They're like, well, you gave up your season tickets, so that means some of the real Giant fan will get them. Dumbasses. This isn't the Meadowlands. There is not a 20-year waiting list. The Giants are having such a problem selling season tickets and selling tickets. The last 2 seasons, that were the first time in team history that they sold single game tickets. They were never available. First time in team history. People are not breaking down the doors to get Giant season tickets. Oh, we got Big Dom, of course, coming in saying, love you, Tim. 315. Kyle McCord, baby. It's going to be the Kyle McCord show because we've said it before. He matches the furniture at the offices in MetLife. Take that for what you want to take it as. Oh, he's not black. Great balls of fire. I want to thank everyone at the Eagle game. A lot of energy in that stadium. Great place to watch a playoff game. Saquon Barkley could have took it 70+ to the house. The ultimate team man. What does he do? Game's done. Gets like 20, 30, drops to the ground. Lets them run out the clock. And everyone's like, well, he screwed Vegas. Because Vegas wanted him to get that touchdown because the bettors will be raking in the cash. Let's go to the chat here and see what they all think about Joe Schoen, the moron. Clueless Joe, Wild E. Coyote, looks like a true super genius. Wild E. Coyote. Super genius. I like the way that sounds. To Protect says, I'm tired of missing these live streams. I want to add my expertise soon and jump on a live stream. You can do it anytime you want. You're always welcome. Big James. Joe Schoen's voice. Does anyone know what a real quarterback looks like? Does anyone know what a real quarterback looks like? No. The Dark Friend says, hit that like button because we all know it's going to be a fun time about a shit show. It's a shit show wrapped in a riddle. It's Clueless Joe. I am feeling better. Thank you very much. James also says, so much fun watching our 2 former players play on the playoff teams yesterday. Yay! I loved the not so subtle shot by Michael Strahan when he's talking about Xavier McKinney. He basically ends it with, thank you, Joe Schoen. But don't worry, Eagle fans. You know, I had to give Eagle fans credit. They don't do anything to rub it in at all for the New York Giants. They don't do anything at all.
last year it was tough year for me mentally. Did a really good job of. They love the Cowboys.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna let the crowd take this one. You guys listen at home. They are saying
Thank you, Giants.
So you're telling me that I need to take a pay cut? Yeah, you're gonna get your ass cut. What's going on, Peter? How you doing, my brother? David says, "What's up, Big Tim?" Schoen has no repartee with the players. It's Schoen. It's not Shane. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These rhymes are Daryl's, and the burgers are Ronald's. It's Schoen. Shown enough. We should have DJ take a pay cut. DJ on it. And all those DJ Panty boys who are wetting themselves because Dan Jones is going to be on the active roster. They already said he's the third string emergency quarterback. Mr. Croswell's talking tough. That's the best part, I think, out of all this. I'm gonna fucking cut his ass. Woman, where's my Uncrustables? And cut off my Uncrustables while I drive my electric car, wearing my sweater vest. I'm as tough as nails. Joe's all about business. If the business is winning, 3 on the 100th anniversary. Mr. Bruce, next year, Malik Neighbors is going to be gone. I would want to trade. But Tim, Joe Schoen is the smartest man in the room because, we all know there's no way to screw 5 and 7. Mr. Bruce also says, why wouldn't Justin Fields want to come here? He knows if he comes here and has an average season, he can make $40 million a year because he's going to come here, play with the likes of whoever we have, get his ass handed to him, and then his entire value is going to go down. I wouldn't want to come here if I was any free agent. Unfortunately, Jabari was right. Shade has got that kind of a deal. You're right. Reminds me of how many moves the great Kayvon has. New York State of Mind says, fake tough guy. Joe Schoen is. You're 100% right. B. Will says so many Giant players are in the playoffs except on the Giants. For real, Will. Everyone's let's see here. Like it says, you're interested in trading back for a quarterback and possibly landing Mason Graham type interior. Our problem is not the interior of the defense. It's the assignment integrity of our defensive ends and linebackers that are killing us and have been killing us since Joe Judge. Everyone in this league figured it out from the last season of Joe Judge in the preseason game against the Cleveland Browns that all you have to do to beat the Giants is run off tackle. Because even back then, our defensive ends do not understand their assignment integrity about maintaining what they're supposed to do in the run because they are more interested in rushing the passer, and we have no quality linebackers outside of Bobby Okereke, who had the Blake Martinez season 2 slump, good enough to make the play. So if you run out and get Abdul Carter, you're going out to get in another undersized defensive end who probably will not play the run well in this league, who failed as an off-the-ball linebacker in college. So I'm not going to continuously build the interior of the line when that's not the problem because of the fact that you just run to the outside. You just run off tackle. It's the Packers sweep. You create I love it because I still remember Vince Lombardi on the board when he goes and you have a guy here and you got a guy here and then you seal the lane. That's all they do. Even Matt from Connecticut is a starter. Come on, Joe could have triplets. Don Dizzy says if the quarterbacks are gone, I'm going Mason Graham to pair him with Dex. Let's take Travis Hunter just to let him walk for 4 years later. I'm not sold on Travis Hunter. I did a whole video saying he could potentially be a bust. He's not going to be the two-way player that some people think he's going to be. He's not going to give you 15 plays on offense. That worked for Charles Woodson did that for a short period of time, but then it kind of just went away. He needs to define a position, and his frame is going to be worrisome. If you look at him, and I've said this before, he looks like Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, we all thought was going to gain some weight, gain some muscle, gain some tone. He didn't. And I think that's the type of body type he has, Travis Hunter. So if you're going to put him in that corner position, and he's going to be, let's see what he really weighs at, but I think he's going to be coming more like 6 feet, 185. after we get away from the college measurements. And you're going to have him run against some of these guys. You're going to have him run against AJ Brown twice. You're going to have him go up against Terry McLaurin. You're going to have him go with these guys. He's got great coverage skills, but he tackles like neon. He tackles like Dion. He uses this shoulder type tackle, and that's not, we've watched the Giants in the shoulder tackle. Oh, also Shane Bowen. Really? I love it. I like the definitive statements the Giants make. Shane Bowen is back for now. If we make zero changes in this on this team and we continue to go move forward, we are joking. We already are a joke of a franchise. And the joke's not funny anymore. Travis Hunter is not going to help this team. I agree. Peter says next season is already a wash between Joe coming back and the schedule. Oh, God, we are so fucked. We're not winning a home game. Let's see. Schedule having no legit quarterback. We have Tommy DeVito. Daryl, what's going on, Tim and OBB family? I really dislike Joe Schoen. That's all. I like Joe Schoen just as much. You said draft a player like we care about helping this team. James says, and we'll lose him and Neighbors in 4 years as well. Work on the defense and the defense in line. O-line, draft a quarterback later rounds. Get enough. The quarterbacks that I see dart to me is Spencer Rattler. Nothing against Spencer Rattler, but that's who he reminds me of. Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord maybe he's a 4th, 5th rounder at best in this draft. Last year, he probably would have gone undrafted. He probably would have went undrafted like the kid from Notre Dame last year. What's his name? Hartman, who went into the transfer portal. He probably would have went undrafted. But he's coming in this year because of the fact they're probably taking 3rd or 4th round. I don't see this shining star. I see a lot of people I see a lot of players with a lot of promise and a lot of problems. More money, more problems. Then it rebuild around 18 James. What's up, Mr. Taz? Happy Monday, folks. You got to be happy. Do you think Schoen was banking on Beck and I can't ever say that name. Quinn having a big year? Neither. Beck has already hit the portal, and I don't know why Quinn's coming out. I really don't. If I was Quinn, I would have went back. Tim, we need a space eater, not one move speed. We need a linebacker. One of the greatest things that Shane Bowen has said. Do you remember when we led the league in sacks? Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember that? We did at one point in time this year. But Shane Bowen said in that first meeting, he needs 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. And we still do. More linebackers than we need defensive. Seinfeld's if possible. Draft Hunter at 3. Quarterback in the 2nd round if both Sanders and Ward are gone. Patrick Surtain is silly good. Does everyone remember when Giant? It was Chat. You know who it was? It was Chat Sports that we were trading for Patrick Surtain Jr. That it was a lock. Yeah. Denver said, "Yeah, hold my beer. here's a big fucking contract for you." I found the stat. Surtain against Flowers, Judy. Let's see, Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Brock Bowers had 2 interceptions and was targeted 16 times on 92 routes, allowing 6 catches for 56 yards and no touchdowns for a passer rating of 8.3. I love it because Drew Phillips' passer rating is like 106.7, but somehow he's awesome. Surtain is the man. He really is. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
I don't remember. I was late on that.
That's what she said.
Oh, David says, I heard Joe Schoen wants to buy a value. Okay. Well, what? I seriously worry this team won't be competitive. Oh, this team is not going to be competitive. I've said this, and we've mentioned it a million times when that contract got signed, that when the moment the ink dried on his deal, Daniel Jones, this was going to push the team back 5 years. We've already had the first 2 years of failure. So we're going to have at least 3 more years of failure. So that's 2025, 2026, 2027. So it's going to be at least 2027, 2028 before we're competitive again. What's up, Matthew? Big Chris has smashed that like. It's Matty Ice. We're not going to get. We're also not going to get Kirk Cousins, so please stop. Jalen Hurts on his rusty days is better than any quarterback I've had for the last 7 years. You're not wrong. I would like to say you're wrong. I've always liked Jalen. Giants will pick up Kenny in the offseason just as a bridge quarterback. Yeah, I bet you would love that. Because Joe would trade a pickup truck for some Crustables. What's up, Roy? Peace, chat. From Indian Land, South Carolina. Great place to play some golf. Indian Wells. I don't see any teams trading up. I don't see a lot. This is not the draft. This is a draft for, like I said, if you want a defensive tackle or if you want a corner, this is a draft. But I'm still not even sold on them being the best positions in this draft. You run into a draft every once in a while where it's a very weak NFL draft. And there's nothing around it. And I'm like I said, it happens. It happens every so often that you run into this draft where you have the biggest amount of busts. And I have to go back to, I would say, I can't even think which draft class it was, but you got to go back to the draft. What was it? You can go back to the Ryan Leaf draft. There's so many different drafts that every once in a while that you just hit upon where it's just not a good draft. The NBA goes through it all the time. We took Anthony Bennett at one point in time as the number 1 overall pick because of the fact there was no one else to take. And this is what happens in this draft. Outside of the top 5, I could probably point out issues with almost every single player you bring up and issues that could cause them to be extremely unsuccessful. This team is a defensive end, inside linebacker, running back 2, running back 3, and a true tight end and a linebacker. Wait, don't forget we need a safety. And I'd probably grab a guard. And with the injuries to Andrew Thomas, I'd probably grab you're going to probably need 2 tackles. So besides that, we're good. What's up, chat? Cop Pizzle thinks Bo Nix is better than Jaden Daniels. Cop Pizzle's a crackhead. And I shouldn't insult crackheads. What he knows about football could literally fit. And I used to like Cop too, but he's a fucking idiot. What he knows about football could fit in this little cap. And don't worry, it won't overflow. He's another wannabe tough guy. Little Hens only drafted to stay in state. You're right. The Dark Fence says, people keep yelling at me. The Pro Football Focus says, Shane has an awesome draft this year. He earns another year. I don't care what Pro Football Focus says. This was not this phenomenal draft. Outside of Neighbors, that was your only home run. Tyrone Tracy, I love Tyrone Tracy. I think you cannot blame a lot of things that he does because he hasn't played the position. But I'm going to tell you next year, he's going to get exposed. And I'm going to tell you right now, hey, what's up, Big Mark? There's going to be more fumbles next year than you can imagine. As Rome has burned, it is now just a soggy mess. Why doesn't anyone think Joe Milton is a viable option? Because the Patriots are not going to get rid of Joe Milton. That's why he's not a viable. I like Joe Milton. I said take a flyer on Joe Milton. I said I liked him as a quarterback. I pointed out the fact, and Zach Attack pointed out the fact of it too, that he had the almost the identical stats of Anthony Richardson and win-loss total, and Anthony Richardson went high in the first round. It's where it's what draft you're in is how you're going to fall and shake out in the draft tree. I would have taken a 6-rounder on Joe Milton in a heartbeat. And then he comes out and plays the game of his life, last game of the season. Doesn't mean he's going to have a prolific career, but you see the arm strength. You see the dual threat talent in Joe Milton. And you know what's scary? So does the Patriots. That's why they drafted him. Why did the Redskins take Heath Schuler and then take Gus Frerotte? Gus Frerotte had a better career. Why did the Washington Redskins take RG3 then take Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins had a better career. Because you always need a backup. So that's why they're not going to get rid of him on a rookie deal. What they do, a 6th or 7th round? They're not going to do that. Not even going to come close to trading him. John Mayer is telling, Tim, come back. Come back, Tim. Like in the movie Titanic. What do you say? We need to move down to the 10 to 15 pick of the first round for a quarterback or else their jobs are in peril. Their jobs are in peril now. This is the problem. You are in such peril right now that you have a head coach and a general manager that are going to be so desperate they're going to make a Mitchell Trubisky type mistake. Drew Aller, I kept telling people before that mess of a game. And I felt bad because we did the video right before the game. Stay in school, Drew. His footwork is terrible. That's why he continuously throws high. Scouts call his speed and his pocket mobility as lumbering. He is a prototypical giant quarterback, 6'5", just going to stand in the pocket. He's Eli Manning, Phil Simms wrapped into one. The only difference is he doesn't have their accuracy even in college. Season tickets should be buy one, get one free next year. They should be. Oh, hell yeah. I would do that. Mr. Taz, they may need to call you. Tim, they may call you a fake fan, but there's a difference between being a fan and being a brain-dead wallet. So you owe your allegiance to the logo, not the group who earned the... There we go. As an Eagle fan, a Flyers fan, evidently, and I'm a Rangers fan, he knows. Mr. Taz gets it. Mr. Taz gets it. My allegiance my allegiance has been with this team since '76, and I've watched, like, I lived through the Andy Robustelli eras. I lived through the bad draft choices. I lived through trading first overall pick for actually it was a second overall pick for Craig Morton, and them taking Randy White, who only had a Hall of Fame career and multiple Super Bowls. But whatever. I mean, I lived through that garbage. This is worse. What's up, Stu? Why isn't Joe Milton being talked about? Because we already talked about that. Because he's not an option. He's still, watch this. He's still not an option. He's still not an option. The musicians went down with the ship, Tim. They did. They did. Allegedly. I think the one guy floated away on the cello. We're not going to talk about Rose. What she did to poor Jack. There was room on that board. They could have both survived. In my mind, Rose is a murderer. She killed Jack. I think she was in it for the money. Let's see here. What do we got here? You know what? I gotta
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Sorry, Rah. You got put in timeout. Don't knock my sport of bowling. James Williams says, with all fairness, came on Timmon and go through the walls and quarterbacks without touching them. I loved it when basically Xavier McKinney called out Kayvon Thibodeau. I thought that was great. I love bowling. No one tackles anymore. No, but what do you mean nobody tackles? I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody tackling. Keep grabbing, everybody. Grab.
Of course, that was the great Vince Lombardi. I didn't know what jersey to wear yesterday. I wore my Cooper DeJean jersey. I got the Barkley jersey. I had the Malik Willis jersey. I got the Xavier McKinney jersey. Two of my favorite teams this year going against, clashing one another. I might go next week again. I might go this week again. I might go this week again. I might have to. But I got invited to the inauguration, so I might have to go to that. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how all this plays out. Let's see here. Off tackle, left off tackle, right. Make it stop. Make the bad man stop. Herbologist, what's up? Smash that like button on the way in. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. What's up, Big Todd? They said to trade Tibbs and Neal. They clearly can't play. Move on now. Move on when someone gives you anything. Move on when someone gives. I will take a sack of potatoes for either one of them. I'm going to take some McDonald's French fries. Let's see here. We should move the Giants to Greenland. Called the Greenland Giants. Travis Hunter could be another Eli Apple if we draft him. I'm not saying, just hit the like button. I'm just saying I have fears. And you watched him play in college, and he looks like an all-world talent, but there's been plenty of all-world talents that we've seen in college that come in and just kind of did not progress. And one of the things I didn't like about Devontae Smith, and I said it before, and we said it during the draft stream with Dom and everyone, that I don't think he was going to fill into his size. And Travis Hunter, to me, is going to be an undersized corner who's not going to be any type of run support, or he is going to be a better than average. He might be Devontae Smith at wide receiver. Beck will be playing for the Hurricanes next year. Say how to bounce back from TJ surgery. Oh, yeah. I mean, Carson Beck was smart. He got $4 million to go to Miami. Why would any coaches, executives want to be part of this? That's the other thing that people don't get when they're like, well, man, what you call it? You can't do this because you build a reputation. A friend of mine used to be a MLB agent, but he specialized in players coming out of the draft. But this was back in he did this in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And he had a couple players make the majors, but he never represented major leaguers. His job was to negotiate contracts for the minor league for mainly high school players. And he would say there was a list of general managers that he would never work with, and he would try to move people away. He would try to move people away from certain teams, especially if they were going to go down that road. When Marge Schott became the owner of the Cincinnati Reds, those were one of the teams that he kept his players away from. He would try to keep his players away from because of the fact that ownership and management was such a train wreck. And he would tell me, it would be the way that she would address people and the way that be that their managers worked and just in general, that he did not want his players going there because of the fact that he knew that if they ever got up to the major league roster, you had the likes of, like, I think it was, I know you had John McNamara at one point. You had Russ Dixon there. Pete Rose was in there for a couple of years. Then you had like Tom Helms. Then you had Lou Piniella. Then Tony Perez and Davey Johnson. So you never had any continuity. And he said it was just ownership was such a shit show that negotiating with, you'd never want to negotiate with them. And you're going to run into that with the likes of Joe Schoen if what these stories are coming out are true. I haven't heard the rumblings that Mike Tomlin. No, Mike Tomlin's already come back there. He said they're keeping Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh, it's already come out through Pittsburgh that they're keeping Mike Tomlin. Look on the bright side, Tim. At least you aren't the Jets. You might have him be nixing players trading purely off the batting rank. I honestly do. I think it was great. Somebody posted the other day that Joe Schoen is basically a Twitter GM. Competitive, if they're smart, don't hold your breath. I never do. The Jersey Giants. The Jersey Chinas, I like that. Tomlin would never run this name to the respect. No, he's not. Tomlin's already said they already said he's coming back. Victor Cruz just said the Giants should wait until Archie Manning is available as far as a quarterback. They said what he said in 2020 is coming to. Oh, I know. Oh, geez. I love when people remind me what I said years ago. Thank you, RFFT. I knew I was jokingly saying, listen, I love Victor Cruz, but Victor Cruz is trying to make him. Ever since Victor Cruz retired after that season with the Bears, he has been trying to make himself into something because Victor Cruz is one of those players that you always see at the Meadowlands. Not the Meadowlands, in MetLife. You always see him there. You always see him on the field. You never see him like in the coaches club or in any place, but he's always just on the field like he's trying to audition. Let's see here. Chris says, Tim, let's see. Well, if you think there are any other YouTube has been more intelligent fans, I'm starting to wonder about your intelligence, Ra. Everyone else is YouTube are fools. Leave Ra alone. I banned him. He's okay. Let's see here. We're going to leave Ra alone. Todd says the Mannings will block Archie from coming here. They don't love the Giants. They didn't want Eli to go to the shit show that San Diego was at the time. That's what I laugh about that. They literally blocked him from going to San Diego because San Diego and Bobby Beathard was still there, I believe, but San Diego was such a shit show. They literally blocked him from going there. Why would they want Archie to come here? It's even worse. 2014 was a weak draft all around. 24. That's the draft I was trying to think of. 2014. AJ says, I love for the Giants to draft Abdul Carter. Why? And I'm not trying to be mean, AJ. Why? Undersized defensive end who is a speed rusher who failed as an off-the-ball linebacker for 2 years at Penn State before he went on the defensive line, plays the run okay. It does not have a plethora of moves besides this little shoulder dip that he uses to get under slower tackles, which he's not going to be able to do in the NFL. Not saying he's not going to be a good player, but you have two players exactly the same type, exactly the same abilities and inabilities in Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. So you want a third one? You're not playing him at linebacker. Kayvon Thibodeau's not going to be a linebacker. Brian Burns is going to be a linebacker. Eagles versus the Ravens. It looks like we might be heading that way. Kevin says, I'm afraid that if the Giants pick Hunter at 3, he might be the next Simmons. He was supposed to be the unicorn. Simmons went lower in the draft, but Isaiah Simmons was another one of those guys that I actually liked. Isaiah Simmons. One of the things I said, I liked him a lot. But what I always said about him is you need to define his position. He needed to have, he didn't want to play linebacker, and he didn't really want to play safety, which I kind of thought was interesting. It's like, well, dude, where do you want to play? Where would you like to play, my friend? Is there anything you'd like to tell me about where you might want to play? Oh my goodness gracious. But you're right. Let's see here. Odell was 2014. Mike Evans too. Yeah, but you got to talk about other parts of the draft. Talking Giants is the only other channel I occasionally watch. Even they can be homers, especially Justin. I don't know who Justin is. This team is the defensive line, linebacker, core, secondary, quarterback, running back, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end away from being a winner. Yeah, okay. I would say you got secondary. Okay. All right, you got what's up, Big Mark? I know I said hello to you earlier. Let's see. The reason Milton is a good option because he's not going to be out on the cheap. He's not going to be out on the cheap at all. Let's see here. James, what's up? The Giants are just plain trash, and they will blow this draft too. So sad to be a Giant fan. Damian says the Giants franchise is directly contributors to the Eagles and the Commanders being good. The obvious the Saquon Barkley Eagles gave us the meaningless games, so we couldn't get the top quarterback last year. I don't know where is the Garoppolo? I haven't seen the Garoppolo this year. I know he's hurt, but I don't know about the Garoppolo. I don't think he would make it a week. We need to stop fixating on other teams' players. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick, thank you. We need to stop fixating on other teams' players. I'm always seeing we should trade for this guy. We should trade for that guy. Never mind that the other teams probably don't want to trade him. Like I said, the Patrick Surtain Jr. thing. We're going to trade for Patrick Surtain. Breaking news from Chat Sports. We're trading for Patrick Surtain. Anyone tell the Broncos? No, they didn't. They forgot to tell the Broncos. I think they have a shot at the defense is playing well. They lost Dean yesterday too. Roy says, get your half pint of rock and rye for that congestion, brother. My congestion's actually gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better, but thank you. I do Grand Marnier in a sniffer warmed. That helps with your congestion. Also, it's a lot of fun. Let's see here. Todd says, no John Mara's out of patience. They have another decade. I love John Mara, though. Well, we have to have patience. John Mara, to me, I think he's going senile. I really do. I'm not trying to be mean. We have to have a lot of patience. We got to have patience because when we don't have patience, things steadily get worse. And then within the same interview, well, they better win and do what they need to do because I'm running out of patience. You just said right that. He's covering all bases. Joe Schoen said he wouldn't reach, so let's see if he keeps his word. Joe Schoen also said he was going to build through the draft and Hogman through free agency. What's up, Glenn? Okay, Tom here is the taker. We take a quarterback in free agency, draft pick, best player available, and we take a quarterback in the second round. Easy work. Who's your second round quarterback? If there's people saying that if people are saying that Sanders may not even be a first rounder, some scouts all of a sudden. We haven't heard that for the last 2 years, but then who's your second round quarterback? Wan'Dale Robinson had an over 9 receptions for 600 yards. The record for the most receptions and fewest yards. We never liked him anyways. Wanda Rom said we said it before during the draft. Don't take George Pickens. But we said, why do you want to get a wide receiver who's on the small-ish side, who needs to learn to protect himself on the field, who got pulled down quite a bit from behind at Kentucky? Not like we haven't seen that for 4 years. The Giants are a rudderless ship. You're right. Can you put the song "Hail to the Redskins"? I think the Giants are the new Redskins. Hail to the Redskins. They are the team. Braves on the warpath. Fight for old DC. I think I have "Hail to the Redskins" somewhere. Hold on. That was such a great fight song. Well, here we go. Yeah. Fight for all. You ask? We have. She murdered him. Rose killed Jack. We all know Rose killed Jack. Giants are the new Browns, but the Browns at least have a quarterback. Too bad he keeps tearing his Achilles. Hey-oh, 6'5" prototype quarterback minus the pro athlete ability. Yeah, that kind of sums up. That kind of sums up Drew. Oh, I want to know what love is. I'm gonna put the needle on the record. I'm gonna drop this, and we're gonna drop the link in the chat. Say if anyone's out there. Is anybody out there? If anyone wants to jump on and say hello, give me your sack of potatoes for Kayvon Thibodeau. At least we would get a sack from Kayvon Thibodeau. That was the joke. Someone got it. Thank you. Is Grab Apple still in the league? Where is Eli Apple? Is he still in the league? Wasn't he with Miami? Is he with Miami? Where did he? No, he went to. Didn't he play? Didn't he play yesterday? He's with the Chargers, isn't he? He's on the Chargers. Well, not. Yeah, I think he's on the Chargers. Well, he's not going to play now. I am tempted to become a Commanders fan for the love of JDS, who I wanted for the Giants. Abdul Carter at 3. Again, explain to me Abdul Carter at 3. Explain it to me. Undersized defensive end who failed as an off-the-ball linebacker for 2 seasons uses his speed and the little shoulder dip to get around guys. And we saw what happened when he hurt his shoulder. And he couldn't do that little dip. And he got pushed around, who probably is not going to be an effective run stuffer in this league. And we have 2 guys that are almost the exact same size and have the exact same skill set. Why? That's what I'm asking. Doctor, what's up? When is the next town hall so you can kick Joe Shane in the nuts? I'm not going to be there. I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. I might just have to show up. Maybe the Giants are going to sign.
That's right. Gotta get to work. That's for you. Yes. Come on. My name is Willie. Baby, I keep the ladies screaming, and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me, you're dreaming.
Don't forget to flex that chest and get Metrex. Our biggest overdraft Thibodeau all hype couldn't just had Micah Parsons. No, we could have had Parsons, but we didn't want Parsons. We wanted to. We couldn't get Devontae Smith, so I don't know if we panicked or literally just went stupid. I would like to see Travis Hunter put on 10 pounds of muscle just to avoid injury. Sauce Gardner is slim, but he has those 10, 15 pounds of muscles as a safety cushion. And Sauce actually tackled at South Carolina. Shane may do better using Madden ratings. He probably was. I'm a giant fan of the Barbie world. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Tiki Barber said he would wait for Arch Manning. I don't think Tiki knows quarterback since 2007. Yeah, since he said, that Eli Manning guy is just, Eli Manning's locker room presence is laughable. He's not a leader. Eli Manning said, "Please, Teak here, hold my beer." Doesn't Tiki have a mistress to knock up and a wife to divorce? To everyone saying, wait for Manning, what if he isn't good? What if Manning's not there? And his godfather and uncle's surname does not make a Hall of Famer. Yeah, look at John Runyon. Tiki just said whatever he thinks the team and Homer fans want to hear right now. Yeah, it's because the only way is a gig, because he's still trying to get in the good grades. Abdul Carter's the same size as Micah. I don't know. Maybe undersized. He can work. But Parsons also plays linebacker. Parsons also drops into coverage. It's not like Parsons is this one-dimensional guy. He does other things well. And now listen, he rushes the passer like a beast. And he averages usually about 60 tackles. And I would say more than 60% of his tackles are solo. So he's leading the point of attack. This is a guy that's got almost 300. Well, he's got 256 tackles and 52 and a half sacks. And how many seasons? And he's missed some time in 4 years. And he missed 3 games this year. Now, he had 12 tackles for loss, 18, 13, and 20. This is a guy that gets after the quarterback, but he does other things. Draft, I can't take Mason Graham at 3. We need a Nixon-type boundary corner that can still play the pass well and make an impact on special teams. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Not talking about you, Tim, but it's amazing that people won't give Sanders a chance this year, but wait 2 years for Archie and hope he's still good then. Archie just hasn't even played yet. I mean, really, he's played a smidgen. I mean, this is Chris Sims' Major Applewhite all over again. Tiki is a joke. Never loved any of his takes. I don't either. Rome says, KV, it's just about the size. He can't play linebacker. At least Mike can. Yeah, he can. That's what I'm saying. He can. Maybe Isaiah Simmons might play quarterback. Why not? I don't think he's going to be on the team next year. Carson back to the Giants. Nice. He's already hit the transfer portal, took the $4 million from Miami. Barkley, McKinney, Julian Love. Say no more, Tim. All right, what's up, Montana? How you doing, my friend? Let's see here. Let's see. Ops 40 Rangers 22 says, if you were the GM of the Giants, what is your plan moving forward? Any names you like to pick up? Plans moving forward. You got $160 million. You got $60 million in cap space. You don't have a quarterback on the roster. Tommy DeVito is your quarterback. You are probably going to do something stupid, like overpay for a free agent quarterback, or are you going to reach? If it's me, I need to rebuild this team from the inside out. I'm probably not in consecutive order, but I'm probably dumping. I probably would try to trade and move on from Andrew Thomas this year. Keep Dexter Lawrence one more year, see what happens. Move on from him the following years, build your assets. Last year was the draft of drafts. Last year was one of those drafts that come around that you kind of just oohed and awed a little bit, just because of some of the talent that was in this draft at multiple skilled positions. I don't think you have that from coming up for the next couple of years. But I do think you're in a position where you can make something good happen if you have the ability to build assets. I mean, you look at the first round of this draft, it's insane. Some of the players that have contributed this year. This was the year to have multiple first round picks. But we didn't. I hear Joe Schoen is I don't have it there. Oh, my computer's going crazy. Let's see here. I heard Joe Schoen is getting quarterbacks into checkout lines at the supermarket. Chad Sports reports they're trading for Mahomes once a season. Yeah, nobody wants that Mahomes, guys. Milton had one good game, and it was a meaningless game. He is not the second coming. He's also not the second coming because of the fact they're not going to move on from him. You don't potentially find a backup quarterback and then say, we should trade him. You have to remember the likes of a certain quarterback, which I'm still think is going to be, has done something well in this league. And it's the like of Malik Willis. Let's be honest. Malik Willis got 4 wins for the Packers. Malik Willis, the Packers aren't in the position that they're in. They weren't in the position to make the playoffs with the Love getting hurt if Malik Willis was not on this team. But will the Packers trade him? No, because they know you need a backup quarterback who fits the system and the skill set of your core. Our Giants' problem has always been this. We never truly had a backup quarterback that fit what our starting quarterback does. They always say your backup quarterback should mirror the skill set of your quarterback, your starter, because this way you don't need to change the offensive game plan when this backup comes in. And that's why no team is going to trade a potential backup who has the ability to stay on a low round contract or later round contract. I'd trade 3, to be honest. 2013 was a poor draft. The one with Geno Smith. You're right. John Mara is pulling a Joe Biden. Jennifer says it's going to be Sanders, although I would take a ton of draft picks from the Raiders to move down. I think you're going to have to really be in love with Sanders. I still think he is a starting. I do think he is a first round. I do think he would be a first round pick if he came out last year. I do still think he'd be taken in the first round. This kid has all of a sudden gone from, potentially being the first overall pick to some scouts saying, well, he's not even he's not even a top 5 guy. How does that happen all of a sudden? How does he go from an overall draft profile rating of 90 point something to some people saying now, well, he's probably not going to get into it. He's still not getting it. He's still not getting it. Now, listen, there are problems with Sanders. There are issues that I kind of, I don't want to say I cringe when I see certain issues that he's got issues, but all rookie quarterbacks coming out are going to have issues. And I think one of his biggest issues was the fact that a lot of his offense was a wing and a prayer to Travis Hunter. We don't have to diagnose the defense. Let's just throw it up under pressure and see if we can get a 50-50 ball. And he has a problem of not throwing the ball away. And he's got to do that. He's got to do that. And I think he's a kid that I think he's overconfident in his own ability, which leads to his detriment. Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because you can be cocky, but don't be overly cocky to the point where when you think you were going to be relying more on your arm strength in this league, you're not going to be able to fit into those tight windows like you did in college. And I think that he's going to be fooled early when you run into players when you run into coaching staffs that have exotic blitz packages. I think you're going to what you call it. I think he's going to run into that issue early. But these are all things that he can fix, but I don't know. John Mara is a Joe Biden if he owned the Giants team, 100% right. Joe Milton is better than any quarterback we had on our roster this year. Stop the hate. Did Slayton perform the performance incentives in his contract? He's clearly better than Wandell. We should have gotten the touches that Wandell received. Well, the problem is Wandell is very apt at playing 3 yards off the line. In order to make a trade, you need assets the other team wants, and you won't go. It hurts the teams. Why will you start with another team? It's hot crickets, I hear. I'm starting at the other soundboard together now. Give me darts in the second round. I can't take dart in the second round. Abdul will need to gel into his own frame as pro, or else he will be put on the island and underperform. That's what I'm worried about. Thank you. Love God. Hey, Tim, great job as usual. Who do you think we should take with a third overall pick? I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm really to the point in this draft that if you cannot grab a quarterback, I look at some of these players And I'm like, okay, I see good things, but I also see a lot of issues on almost every single player outside of the top 5. We don't need like I said, we don't need a Mason Graham. You have Dexter Lawrence, and the interior of our line is not the problem. It's our inability to stop the run on the outside that's the problem. And I'm not going to take Williams. What's his name? Micah Williams. I'm not taking him. I love the kid from Boise State. I mean, I'm not going to grab a safety. I think Will Johnson at 3 is too high. I said it before. I trade back. If I can't grab a quarterback, I got to trade back. I wouldn't trade back any further than probably 12, but you're not trading with Dallas. Maybe 13. Maybe 13. I mean, I think Will Johnson is good at 13. He's still got the turf toe problems. I don't know. I would trade out. I would literally trade out if it's me. Mr. Roberts says, hey, Tim, I am looking at UF rosters because the stories about Schoen, these will be the guys who are coming here. You know, it was the USFL, then it turned into the UFL. I actually watched a lot of their games. They were fun to watch. What's up, Johnny Rico? Giants have no culture, no identity. Shane and Daves are both failures in that regard. You're right. Dude, you look like you are losing it. Why do I look like I'm losing it, Mark? Explain it to me. It's easy to be stupid, and I think you just proved that. But actually have some validity to your argument. Yeah. Mark, I'm going to give you a life lesson. Bud Light sucks. And drunk and stupid is no way to go through life. Animal House. Watson robbed the Browns. He sure did. I've joined late. What would you do this offseason for free agency include? Well, it was a great I don't want to say anything. It was a great free agent plan. I don't want to tell you what it was right now because you're going to have to watch the video. Let's see. Eli Appy is a Charger. What the hell is that, James? I think James. I don't know what James is doing. I gotta click in James because it was upside down for a minute.
Oh yeah, I was doing something. Sorry, I had to make sure nobody stole the flat screen TVs. What's going on? Why? Because then they'll blame the black guy in the back, and I can't have that.
Well, don't worry, that won't happen to the Giants.
No, we won't even let him in the building. We'll take Drew. What's his name? The guy from Penn State. That got his. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's the Shane Falco.
He reminds me. It was Bob Uecker all over again with him. It's the venerable just a bit outside, tried the corner and missed. He would throw high everywhere.
I miss Bob Uecker. Major League
Man. Was no Justin. The love child learned that yesterday against Philadelphia.
The love child.
NFL is a bad thing.
It's so funny. I just realized he looks just like one of Rachel's cousins that I just met, and I was like, "Oh, look, your cousin's out there. She's not having a good day." There's no love for love yesterday in the city of brotherly love. There was no love.
There was no love whatsoever.
No love.
We got the big question today. The Giants don't take a quarterback at 3. What the hell are they doing?
I got to be honest with you. My whole thing is taking a quarterback. I can't even listen to anything else. You know, anything else doesn't make sense. Maybe 5 minutes. Anything else doesn't make sense to me.
You got to give me something now, because everyone's asking.
Well, I'm saying we should take Shador. If we can't get Shador, if Cleveland for some strange reason takes him, then I don't want Travis Hunter because his girlfriend's gonna go crazy in New York. And no, I'm serious. I'm telling you right now. I know it's a weird thing. I keep saying that, but if you watch the background story on that dude, and I'm sure a couple people in the chat know, if we bring him to New York, his girl's gonna leave him for Micah Parsons. And Micah Parsons is going to bring her on his podcast, and then Travis Hunter is going to be crying at his locker after the game.
Did you?
We don't need that.
Remember the movie Moneyball?
Of course.
Brad Pitt, and there was a meeting that all the scouts are sitting around and going, and this is what I always think of. The guy's got no confidence. He's got an ugly girlfriend. She's a 6. So just take that what you want. Take that what you want about Travis Hunter.
Well, it's funny. A lot of guys, some guys, listen, everybody's not blessed. Some guys would be happy with a 4. Everybody's dating life is not the same, first of all. So listen, if you have a strong 6, listen, that guy plays sports, but if he didn't play sports, she would not be there. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Same thing I tell people about Jay-Z. Like, we all love Jay-Z's music, but if he wasn't rich, trust me, I wouldn't be kissing that camel every night. Trust me. So sorry. I hurt somebody's feelings. I know. That's so sad. I know.
You probably did. I love how what about Abdul Carter?
Abdul Carter, not at number 3. Not at number 3.
We just had
I honestly, if we don't take, I think we have to trade out, like you said. If we don't take a quarterback, I guess the best thing would be to trade out and try to build for next year for the next GM that's going to be here. But it's not a super strong draft like you're saying. But we got to get a quarterback, man, and not Drew Alar or some retread from somebody else's team. Like you said, we keep fantasizing over other people's girls or another guy's toys. It's very weird. But I don't think Pittsburgh's going to let go of Justin Fields. I don't think New England's going to let go of Joe Milton. The best thing would be to trade out and build for next year, like you said, if they're not going to get a quarterback, unfortunately.
People seem to be enamored with what's the name, J.D. Milroe out of Alabama.
Well, that was my guy at the beginning of the year, as you know, but even I'm going to say no. He's a 3rd, 4th rounder at best. And based off the holes we have, I don't think you could take a project quarterback this year like that. I think if they take a guy even in the 2nd, 3rd round, he's got to be able to come out and play this year. Do you trust Shane and them with a project? I
don't trust them with a science project, let alone them trying to get a project quarterback.
And you got to remember, if we lose Slayton, what's our wide receiver room look like? Wandell and Neighbors?
That's
hold on. All right, Tim, you know what? I'm having a busy day here. I'm going to have to jump off.
All right, well, James, I appreciate you coming on. Be safe. Have a good day at work.
All right.
I didn't get to ask James my question because what the great Ohio State just did. I was going to ask him about the Ohio State quarterback. I was going to ask him about Will Howard. He's coming out. He's coming out next year. Big Will. So that's another question. Saying we should trade Dexter Lawrence equals us losing it. No, it's not. How old is Dexter Lawrence right now? I mean, just let's look at the thought process. And I said trade Dexter Lawrence next year, not in 2026, not 2025. I said Dexter Lawrence is 27 years old. You're 3 years away from being good. He will be 30 by the time you may be good. So big men like this have an issue at times maintaining their consistency. Dexter Lawrence's contract has a dead cap number of $23 million, $27 million, $26 and up through 2027. So when you get after 2026, he's only got a $14 million dead cap number. So he is now more of a tradable. He's now more of a tradable after 2025 with that $14 million dead cap number at 29 years old. With 2 years remaining on his contract, he is a tradable asset. Think about that. He is unless you think you're going to be good in the next 4 years. Whoops, I look a little drunk there. Unless you think he's going to be good in the next 4 years, Dexter Lawrence, he is a tradable asset at the end of 2026. I should rephrase, at the end of 2025. because he's only a $14 million dead cap number, and he'll be 29 years old. So why wouldn't you consider doing that? I would, because if you're planning on probably not being good again for another 2 years after that, why not move on? The problem is this right now, and it's the same thing with Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas's dead cap number is $44 million in 2025. You're not going to eat that, but you can move on. He's 23 in 2026, and he's only $4 million in 2027. He's responsible for almost 7% of the salary cap. But the difference between him and Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence is Andrew Thomas isn't 30 till 2029. It's the injury issues and consistency of the problem right now with Andrew Thomas. Why wouldn't you look at trading him? Send me a flat screen TV. Sanders is a reach at 3. I don't think he's a reach at 3. I really don't. I don't think he's a reach at 3. Vanilla lock is worse than vanilla unsweetened almond milk. That's pretty bad. Put Lawrence on a contender. Lawrence may never see any type of contention. But like I said, right now, it makes more of an issue. It makes more sense to trade Dexter Lawrence at the end of next year. Because of the fact, like I said, he's going to be 30 and over 30 and almost off his contract when we're good again. So why should we have him? Yeah, it's great. You know what? It's a great thing. You know what it is? It's great to own a Porsche. As long as the engine of the Porsche actually runs. We have the Porsche and Dexter Lawrence, but there's no engine underneath it in regards to the rest of the other 52 men. Just throwing it out there. Need to move on, man. Thomas, dude is hurt. Jalen Miller, I think he's a second rounder. I think he's going to be a second rounder this year. I feel old, Tim. I just turned happy birthday to Blackbird for turning 23. Rara said, Tim, I can tell you were trying to justify trading Lawrence. You understand how dumb of a move that would be. I can tell you by your body language. No, actually, you're wrong, Rara. It's not a dumb move. It's not a dumb move at all. I would trade Dexter Lawrence. If I had the opportunity to trade Dexter Lawrence at the end of next year, I would do it. It makes sense. You could probably get a second rounder and probably a fifth. And you can move on from the contract, free up cap space. Because right now, like I said, 2026, at the end of 2026, he'll be 29 years old. But he's only got a $14 million dead cap number if you move on from him. Move him. You got to start thinking. Our problem is this: we don't play long ball. We play short ball. We don't play long ball whatsoever on this team. Never have. We used to. We used to make moves that are 3 years down the road. I don't think he retires a Giant. I don't think so. Only retires a Giant at all. I think he's Dexter Lawrence is great, but Dexter Lawrence is not Aaron Donald. Sorry. We think he's great because he's great for what we have, but he's not Aaron Donald. I've been talking about Will Howard for some weeks now. He's a big body quarterback with a strong arm, lacks mobility, which is important today. I think Will Howard this year would probably be a third, fourth rounder. Last year, he's a Sam Hartman. I think he would go undrafted. I think he's just watching him in college. He reminds me he's a one-read Daniel Jones guy. That he locks onto that primary read. And I think you're gonna get at him. I think you're gonna get after him. He's also gonna be 24 years old. I don't think his footwork really affects at times his ability to throw, but he is an under the center quarterback. He is a true under the center quarterback. He's not a shotgun quarterback. He's an under center. He's a prototypical pro under the center quarterback. No one's giving you a first rounder for Dexter Lawrence. No. Sorry. Our overvalue of our players is amazing. It really is. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is a great player. He is. But he is not a guy, I mean, that you look at, like I said, Chris Jones, Cameron Hayward, what's his name? Williams, what's his name? Was it Quentin Williams or with the Jets? The McNeil guy. What's his name? McNeil. He's the run stopping guy from the Detroit Lions. I mean, it's not a slight against him, but he's just not there. I mean, he's just not this destructive thing. And I've said this a million times before. In the last 3 years, what has Dexter Lawrence done to make the Giants defense better? He got them. Wait, I think we froze again. Damn, we keep freezing here. He got the majority of his sacks as a defensive end position. Think about that just think about that for a minute. Most of his sacks come from the defensive end position. You could say, like I said, I'm not saying he's not a great player, but he's not this player that people have him made out to be. And that's, I think that's kind of what we're at. We're overhyping all of our players to think that this is what we're going to do. And this is what we're going to get. Listen, like I said, he is probably one of the top 3 defensive tackles in this league. 100%. But is he a at this point in time a destructive force that Aaron Donald changed the complexion of games? Dexter Lawrence disappears at times. You're looking at a guy at 9 sacks and 44 tackles. And only half his tackles, less than half, were solo. It's gone down the last couple of years. He's got 300 tackles in the last 7 years and 30 sacks. And most of his sacks came from the defensive end position. If people can't see the wherewithal and the smarts to move on from a player, nothing I can do about that. This is worth more than the 2 and a 5. What'd you get from Ryan Burns? Oh no, I keep freezing. What the fuck? I keep freezing here. God, chat sport fans. Chat force them into the room. Well, at least maybe they might learn something. They come and they might learn some shit. What did you get for OBJ? You down with OBB? Yeah, you know me. Let's see here. It's that's a good one. Rome is right. It's emotional attachment. It is emotional attachment to certain players that we overlook their premier value towards the team. Are we a defensive end away from being good? No. Are we a defensive tackle away from being good? No. We're not. So you're going to say you have a premier player in Dexter Lawrence where you're not going to be good for another 3 years, and by the time you are good, he's 30? Why does that make sense to keep him instead of moving on and getting assets? Andrew Thomas, like I said, Andrew Thomas right now, if you look at the contracts, is a horse of a different color because of the fact that he'll be 30 in 2027, 2028. So, and he's still got a $44 million dead cap number. It's like Brian Burns. Kept hearing he was a premier defensive. Giant fans kept telling me he was a premier defensive end in this league. NFL Network, after the trade and the sign, said that the Giants did good value-wise. They paid normal value for Brian Burns. 2 and a 5 and a swap of a 5th in this year's draft. But the problem was this. They then gave $120 million to an 8-sack guy. And I said the same thing. People said I was crazy. And I do have to apologize because I was wrong. He got 8.5 sacks. Was Spider-Man that the singular destructive force on the offense, on that defensive line? No. Not whatsoever at all. We talked about how him and Casper have a tendency to disappear during games. And we said it well before the first snap of the season. And it happened the first game. What happens when they both have one of those games where they have no tackles and no sacks? Because they've done that. We broke down the stats and we broke down the years, we broke down the games. And they did that multiple times this season. But we paid $120 million, 2 and a 5, and swapped 5th for a player that was not the destructive force that we thought he was going to be. No. Mark, no. Mark, are you a chat sport fan? Rams were not willing to give up 2 number 1s. Because if they were willing to give up 2 number 1s for Brian Burns would be a Ram.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
We put Mark in timeout because Mark has what we refer to as a case of the stupids. And I can't deal with stupids today. And I'm actually wearing a Saquon Barkley jersey. I'm not wearing an Eagles jersey. I'm wearing a Saquon Barkley jersey. Figure it out. I'll be up in 2 minutes. 2 for 2. We're closing it out, guys. We are closing it out because I got to go upstairs and have lunch. It's not easy. It's not easy being green. Kermit the Frog. I want to thank everyone that hung out as long as you did today. I want to thank, we had a couple hundred people in the YouTube thing, another 100 people over on the Twitter thing. So, I don't know. We'll have a Knicks video coming out, I think, tomorrow. Got to give Knicks big props on that 140-point explosion of Jalen Brunson turned into Bernard King for a night. Still need depth on this team. We're gonna figure it out. I appreciate you, Matthew. Appreciate everyone. Don't run from it. I believe Jaden Miller can be the guy. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's a running quarterback who's not Lamar Jackson. Not going to run from it. I'm just saying I don't like it. But you know I don't run from anything except from snakes and spiders. I've already told the story of the banana tree spider in Miami. That was scary as shit. Those things like fucking this big, man. They're not hurt. They don't hurt, but they're like this freaking big. Logic, change your name to no. Be nice. Be nice, or you will not be here. Oh, and don't mess with Logic. Fine. This is Tim the New York Giants. Blue LLC. I want to thank everyone for coming in. And you know what, guys? It's 12:27 in the p.m. and we're out of here. Have yourself a good day. Look out for that Nick video tomorrow, and let's see what the Knicks do against the Detroit Pistons. Good night, Glenn. We're out of here. Peace.